Okay, so now we're putting the gaskets on the intake runners now. Now one of the things you need to do when you put the gaskets on is actually use a little of Edelbrock's gasket cinch. You put a thin coat on the runner itself and then a thin coat on the gasket. Let it sit for 5 minutes before you put those on. It's going to stick it in place so it's not going to try and move around as you put the actual supercharger unit on, because as you're sliding the supercharger unit in, that gasket's going to want to move around some, and you need to make sure that they stay in place so you don't have any air intake leaks at all around the supercharger itself. So we did that. We're putting the gaskets on now. Next step will be to put the supercharger unit on and get it bolted down. Okay, so now we've actually installed the supercharger head unit. Now you'll notice when we installed this in the video that we actually taped up the 4 rear bolts. You can see why. The clearances are really tight in the back. If you didn't put the bolts in first and tape them up so that we could slide it into place, you'd never get those bolts in. So make sure you tape them up, get the head unit laid in place, and then you can drop those bolts down in the back. Alright, so after we installed the throttle body, we actually went ahead and installed the new intake tube that came with the E-Force kit. Put the new high flow filter in the air box. We do use the OE filter box, but we do put the new high flow filter for the added air needed for the supercharger. We put in the silicone couplings for the air tube, clamped them down. We put in our new PCV valve tubes. Again, and this is a point that we want to make sure we reinforce. These are the new ones that come with the E-Force kit. They're pre-bent, they're correct length. They're just a plug and play. There's no reusing the old ones or having to reuse the couplings and put new hose in. All of this comes with the kit. So it's a real simple, really clean install. Got everything reconnected for the throttle body and the OT sensor. So we've got all of that done. As you come over here, you can see we actually went ahead and replumbed. This is the hose that goes down to our water pump that we installed earlier. Got it clamped in. The back hose is the one that comes to the reservoir. So we've got that installed now. We've got all of our connectors reconnected for the wiring harness. All the wiring harness, again, is pre-terminated. All the links are correct. You can see how OE it all lays in. So we've got all that plugged in now. So now the next step is actually to prime the pump for the coolant system and then fill up the coolant system. And we'll be ready to fire it and see what happens. Okay, so the next step is to actually fill the coolant system. What you'll want to do is go ahead and fill the reservoir tank. Go into the cab, turn the key to the on position, which will actually fire the water pump below. Keep a sense of your level on here as it's priming the system. Of course, you have that huge heat exchanger that's going to fill. Make sure that the tank stays filled. So as we did that, we're checking, we're making sure we're getting good flow. We've got a pretty good flow. We're going to go ahead and finish it up and we'll button it up. Okay, so we finished priming the coolant system. Again, if you look over here, this is all the relay and all the wiring loom for the water pump that's down below. You can see how well it tucks in. All of it's, again, pre-terminated, so all the wiring just plugs right in. You don't have to worry about splicing or finding a place to put it. They've given you enough wire to tuck everything in so you have that clean OE look. So we've checked all that, all the connections are done. So now there's only one thing left to do and fire it and see what happens. So Mike, you want to do the honors? Give it a blip for us. Sounds like everything's running the way it's supposed to. We're good to go. Now the only thing left is to reinstall the trim and we're done with this project. Thanks for watching In the Garage with Total Truck Centers. As always, in the description below, you'll find part numbers for what we installed today, link to our website so you can go find out more about products like this or whatever you're working on, and find a store local to you that can help you with professional help in installation or product information just like this. We'll see you in the next episode.